Hello and welcome to the OCVarsity Dugout Show. I am your host, Jonathan Khamis. I'm being joined by Steve Fryer. How are you, Steve?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Oh, you got to be doing well here out at beautiful El Dorado. We are here for the National Classic, one of our favorite tournaments to cover in all of baseball. We'll get to the tourney talk a little bit later, but first, our player of the week, Steve, who you got?
Well, Huntington Beach, Hagen Danner. Catcher, pitcher, had a great tournament, the National High School Invitational. 7 for 13, 7 for 12, drove in 5 runs, pitched a victory, got that team going in that National High School Invitation, which out in North Carolina, which Huntington Beach won.
SoCal killing it in that North Carolina tournament, but over here, meanwhile, in Southern California, we have 3 tournaments to talk about this week, Steve. Over here, we have the National Classic, but first, let's talk about the Boris Classic, which is fairly new to the Orange County scene, but we have the number 1 school, number 2 school, number 3 school in the county competing in the Boris Classic, Steve.
Yeah, a lot of good teams in this one. Huntington Beach comes home now with a 7-4 record, and they play in the Boras Classic. Got J. Sarah in it, Mater Dei, the 2 host schools in it are playing in it. Olu's playing in this thing. Man, it's a loaded tournament. What they do is they play a South California bracket, and that's the one that's going on down here. That'll be played at J. Sarah and at Mater Dei. And then up north, they just finished the north half of the tournament. Davis won that thing. So Davis will be playing the Southern California champion on May 7th at J. Sarah in the championship of the whole Boris Classic.
Also, the National Classic over here behind us, it's at a couple of schools. We're at El Dorado this week. El Toro's in it. They're the number 4 team. Number 5, Cypress, will get playing very shortly. The National Classic, Steve, we've covered it many years, and it's always a fun way to look at some up-and-coming talent throughout, the state and sometimes the country.
Boy, some great players have played in this thing over the years, and I remember going back like the second or third one they ever had when Alex Rodriguez played in this thing.
Who?
Yeah. Future Hall of Famer, man. Great player. So we've had some great teams and great players in the National Classic. It used to be the number 1 tournament in the whole nation. They kind of started that whole idea of having a national level baseball tournament. A lot of other people picked up on it, including the folks out in North Carolina. But this thing still draws a lot of big-time statewide talent.
All right, finally, the last tournament we'll talk about is the Anaheim Lions tournament. Some other quality teams in there, including Aliso Niguel and Tesoro.
Boy, that's a huge tournament. 80 teams are in that thing now. Finished up at Glover Stadium on Wednesday, weather permitting and all this other stuff. But it's a dynamite tournament. It's really interesting how they do it. With 80 teams, you're probably going to have a couple teams go 4-0. So the 4-0 teams are going to go to the championship game. Now, if you have more than 2 of them, what they do is they do the team that's allowed the fewest number of runs gets to go in. And if that still doesn't decide it, then you go run differential. And so you look through it all. It's pretty funny to read the criteria about, okay, if this doesn't settle it, well, we'll just try and figure out something fair. That's kind of funny. But it's with 80 teams, could be a couple of guys who go 4-0, and it's going to be fun to see who winds up in that tournament.
All right. I'm your host, Jonathan Khamis. For all your latest baseball tournament information, all the latest scores, check out OCVarsity.com, where we've got you covered. Let's play ball.
Que bueno.